dear students. I hope all of you are in good shape. Actually, we are meeting after not so long, but after a gap actually, and I hope that all of you, had a wonderful Durga Puja celebration. Okay, you enjoyed a lot, I hope. And I believe, this is my belief, that you did not forget to maintain the COVID protocols because you were smart enough. You are smart enough, you know that we are maintaining that all those things, all those protocols for a better future, for a corona free future, because it is still there. This is the fact. It is still there, the virus is still there, and we need to be careful. The number of cases are decreasing because we are being careful. Okay, so we should not feel like, okay, the cases are decreasing, so we should not wear mask, we can do whatever we want. No, we need to maintain those protocols, and then we need to enjoy our days, our holidays, or whatever there is. In this way, we will create a corona free future together. Okay, because we are in this together, so we need to maintain all those things together. Okay, another thing, now we are going to start our discussion. As you can see, something has been written already on the board. If you cannot see me, not a problem. This thing is important whenever I write on the board. And another thing that I need to mention, that you know that the live classes are suspended for only a few days due to the reasons of copy showing and all those things. So you know, there is a positive side also. Always try to find out the positive sides of every incident. I am going to discuss quite a few topics. Okay, this video is going to be a long one. You are going to get much time to watch the whole video again and again if you want. Go through the chapters that I am going to discuss again and again. Jot down your doubts, jot down your queries, and in the next live class, wherever we are going to get the next live class, ask me about your doubts, and as always I am going to help you. Okay? And solve the homeworks that I am going to provide in the study material. If I forget to provide that thing in the study material, don't forget to solve the exercises, the worksheets provided in your own book. And after that, you check the answers from my provided answers, the provided answers by me. But there are some questions like for oral practice, make sentences, or write down this sentence in this style or in that style. You know, those answers I really believe we need to discuss orally. That is why it is mentioned that for oral purpose. Okay, for that thing you need to attend the live class. The students who regularly neglect live classes, you are going to get in trouble with those questions, because I am not going to provide all the things ready-made. Okay, some things will be discussed. The answers that are not being provided, I am not providing them deliberately, because ready-made things are not going to help you always. You need to solve some things on your own, and if you face problem, obviously I will discuss them in the live class. Okay? So start the discussion, and the first topic is adjectives. And there is another thing that I have written under the term adjectives, that is describing words. Another name. Okay, another name of adjectives. Now, why describing words? What is adjective? I don't know, I can't speak properly today. What is adjective, or why is it called describing word? Any idea? If you have idea, then okay, then try to match your idea with mine. Adjective is called describing word obviously because it describes something. Now, what is the thing that is described by adjective? A noun and a pronoun also sometimes. Okay, so adjective is something, you know, an adjective is a word. It is actually one of the 8 parts of speech. Adjective is obviously one of those 8 parts of speech. I hope you remember the 8 parts of speech. If you don't remember, go and read those 8, memorize those 8 parts of speech. I may ask this question in the live class. Okay, next live class, I may do that. It is one of those 8 parts of speech, and adjective is a word used to add something to the meaning of a noun or a pronoun. It adds something. Okay, it is not a verb without which you cannot make any sentence. It adds something to the noun or the pronoun. Okay, like Mira is a good girl, or she is good. About she, which one is the pronoun here? She. And the word good, the term good, it describes her nature or whatever. So it is describing a pronoun here. Or Mira is good. In this particular sentence, Mira is a noun. So in this particular sentence, good is describing the noun Mira. That is why good is a describing word which is known generally as adjective. This kind of words are generally known as adjectives which describe noun and pronoun. Remember this. This term you remember, it will be easier for you to memorize the things. Okay. Now let's come to your book. The word boy is a noun. Yes, we can have a tall boy, an intelligent boy, a rich boy. Yes, another thing. Okay, I am taking example from your book so that it will be easier for you to understand. She has made a new design. She has made a new design. In this particular sentence, design, it is a noun. Obviously, it is a noun. Now, the word new, it is describing the fact that the design is new. The design that she has made is new. Okay, because this particular word new is adding something to the noun design, it is describing it is a describing word or it is an adjective. So, as I just mentioned, I am repeating for the last time that adjectives actually describe noun or pronoun. Okay, add something to the meaning of noun and or pronoun. As on the sentence it depends. In some sentences it adds meaning to noun and in some sentences to pronoun. Now move forward, position of adjective. Actually this particular portion, position of adjective, I am sure that you can memorize something from the pronoun chapter. Okay, you remember there was a difference mentioned in your book. We had a long discussion regarding that, the difference between interrogative, not interrogative, the difference between possessive adjective and possessive pronoun, those kind of things. I hope you remember the adjectives are in most cases placed just before the noun. We place the adjectives in most of the cases just before the noun, in most of the cases. Okay. See, when an adjective is used to describe a noun, it is normally placed before the noun. Like this. Like here you can see a new design. I have made a sentence with that example only. So you can easily understand how an adjective is generally placed before the noun. I hope you can see the board, right? The camera is focused here. I hope. The new design. Okay. But sometimes, I said in most of the cases, but not in all the cases. But sometimes an adjective may be placed after the noun as well. This question is easy. As I said, she is good. This question is easy. Here the adjective is easy. It is describing the question but it is not placed before the term the question. Okay, so it has placed somewhere else. It can also happen. So you need to be careful when you are trying to find out an adjective from a particular sentence. Okay. Now there are 6 kinds of adjectives mentioned in your book. The first one, adjective of quality. Second one, only a few examples have been mentioned here in this chart so that it becomes easy for you to memorize when you are memorizing, to understand when you are memorizing the terms like adjective of quality, adjective of quantity, adjective of number, demonstrative adjective, interrogative adjective, possessive adjectives. The first one, adjective of quality. What do you think? What is adjective of quality? Obviously, it describes the quality of a noun or pronoun. This is very much clear from the name itself. An adjective of quality describes the quality of a person or thing. The teacher asked a difficult question. This one also. Okay, the example that I mentioned before, this one also mentions in this particular sentence, the adjective that has been mentioned, it is actually an adjective of quality. Why? Because the teacher asked a difficult question. Here, which one is the adjective? That you need to find out at first. Difficult. And which one is the noun that has been described by this particular adjective? Question. So, what type of, you can put forward a question with what type of or what kind of. It has been mentioned, this tip has been mentioned. An adjective of quality answers the question, what kind of. So, what kind of question? Difficult question. When you can get the answer of this question, you put forward a question with what kind of question, what kind of, after that the noun, and you get an answer, it is an adjective of quality. Similarly, there is another thing which is a part of adjective of quality, that is proper adjectives. An adjective derived from a proper noun is called proper adjective. The students who don't remember what a proper noun is, immediately go and watch the previous video or just read from the book, you will easily understand, because it has been discussed already quite a few times, I know. So go and read it again. At first remember what a proper noun is, and then you will understand this. Okay? An adjective that is derived from a proper noun. Like India is a proper noun. See, Indian doctors enjoy a good reputation. So from India, the term Indian has been derived. And now in this particular sentence, it is describing the noun doctors. In this way, Indian, the word Indian, it is an adjective, and because it is derived from the proper noun India, the term Indian is a proper adjective, and it is somehow a type of adjective of quality. What kind of doctors? Indian doctors. Okay. Now the next one, adjectives of quantity. An adjective of quantity specifies the quantity of a thing. Quantity, okay, now don't get confused with quantity and number. They are not the similar things. Quantity are the things that can be measured but not by number. Like sugar. You can measure sugar, but can you say 1 sugar, give me 1 sugar, give me 2 sugar? No. Or wheat. Can you say give me 1 wheat, give me 2 wheat? No, but it can be measured like 1 kg, 50 gram, in this way. So this is called quantity. Okay, this is not number. There is a huge difference between these two. An adjective of quantity specifies the quantity of a thing. This is very much clear from the name. We have enough food for a month. So 1 food, 2 food, no. Enough food. It is measured. There is lot of food. But you cannot count them through numbers. Okay. Such adjectives like enough, some, much, such adjectives are called adjectives of quantity because it is describing the quantity of a noun or pronoun. Now adjectives of number, the thing that I have already mentioned, there are 3 bananas. How many bananas? 3 bananas. Okay, 5 passengers got into the bus. So you can easily count them. These are countable nouns that you are talking about, and these adjectives like 5. Okay, another thing, many friends. Not always you are going to get a particular number. Many friends. You find out the adjective and the noun for which the adjective has been used. Okay, the noun which is getting described by that adjective. Like many friends helped him. Many is not a number, but the noun that has been described by the word many, that is friends. Okay, let me write down for you. Oh, I don't have the thing with me, the duster. Okay, no problem. Many things. So, many friends. Friends you can easily count, one friend, two friends. Friends are not uncountable. So if the noun is countable, obviously the adjective that has been used for it, that is the adjective of number. But if the noun is uncountable, like wheat, like food, like water, the adjective that has been used for to describe that noun, that is the adjective of quantity, not number, because uncountable things cannot be counted. Remember this, okay? And read this from the book, watch this portion of the video. If you face any confusion, do ask me later. An adjective of number answers the question how many. Okay, these are the tips, special tips mentioned in your book as always. Adjectives like third, fifth, okay, this is important, you can underline. Adjectives like third, fifth, 11th are derived from numbers. The adjective third, for example, is derived from the number 3. You can easily understand this. These adjectives are also called adjectives of number. Okay, she is the 5th girl in this class, of this class. So 5th girl, 5th also is derived, as it is derived from the number 5. It is an adjective of number which is describing the term girl. Okay. Now, since these adjectives show in what order a person or thing stands, they are also called ordinal adjectives. Yes, you can call them adjectives of number 5th, 6th, 7th, these things, and as they show the order of things or persons, whatever there is, they can be called ordinal adjectives. Order, ordinal, connection is there, you can easily memorize. Try to find out the connections, okay? It is interesting as well as it is an easy way to memorize things. I always do that till now. Now, distributive adjectives, distributive. So, distributive, it has connection with distribution somehow. So, let's see. An adjective which refers to each one of a number is called a distributive adjective. Every child must be sent for a medical checkup. Each, every, these things. And in this particular sentence, the term every is describing the noun child. So it is a distributive adjectives. Distributive adjectives are kind of adjectives of number. Yes, child can be counted. Children are not uncountable. Okay, so obviously it is a kind of adjective of number. Look at these two sentences. Okay, let's look at these two sentences. Give the beggar some food. Some parents came to meet the principal. This has been discussed just a few minutes before, so I am discussing it briefly again. See, give the beggar some food. In this particular sentence also food, the noun food has been described by the word some, and some parents came to meet the principal. In this particular sentence, parents, the noun parents has been described by the term some. But in one particular sentence, the term some is describing a countable noun, and in another sentence it is describing an uncountable noun. Obviously parents you can count, but food, can you count food? Particular food, banana you can count, but general term food, can you count that? No, it is uncountable. So in the first sentence, the adjective some, it is the adjective of quantity, but in the second sentence, as it is describing the countable noun parents, it is the adjective of number. So the same term can be used in various ways, can be various types of adjectives. So be very careful, always find out the adjective at first, then find out which noun is described by that adjective, whether it is countable or it is uncountable. If it is describing quality, then to okay. Otherwise, if it is describing number or measurement, then be careful whether it is describing quantity or number or order, ordinal. Okay. Yes, see, it has been mentioned, nouns can be countable and uncountable, books are countable, milk is uncountable. In this way it works. Okay, this box here everything has been summarized. This is really helpful, this yellow box. Adjective used with an uncountable noun, adjectives of quantity, because they cannot be counted with number, but adjectives describe a countable noun, adjectives of number. Now demonstrative adjective. A demonstrative adjective is used to demonstrate something, means to point out something, a person or a thing, like this. Okay, I hope you remember okay, let me get an example. These walls need to be painted. Really, these walls need to be painted. So walls, this is a noun. These walls, I am pointing out these walls. So the term these, it is describing the noun walls. I hope you remember we read the difference between demonstrative pronoun and demonstrative adjective. Okay, so get that idea. Here the term these has been mentioned before the noun walls. That is why it is an adjective. Now we do not have many demonstrative adjectives. Underline. You will see only these, that, those, yonder, such and certain. Yonder we generally do not use much, so underline as demonstrative adjectives. There are not so many demonstrative adjectives, only a few, so memorize them, your problem is solved. Okay. Next one, interrogative adjectives. An adjective which, when used with a noun, asks a question is called an interrogative adjective. What question did the teacher ask? So here the interrogative word is what, and it is placed before the noun question. It is describing the noun question. So obviously it is an adjective, and as it is framing a question, it is an interrogative adjective. Now next one, possessive adjective. Again we learned the difference between possessive pronouns and possessive adjective. Possessive adjectives are placed just before the noun, like this is my pen. Pen is a noun and my is placed before the pen, and it is describing as well the word pen. So this is my pen. In this particular sentence, the possession is indicated by the term my, and it is describing the possession of the pen. That is why possessive adjective. Okay. A possessive adjective answers the question whose. Whose pen is this? My pen. Okay. In this way the possession is indicated. My, our, your, his, her, its and their are used as possessive adjectives. Memorize them if you want. Okay, now you solve this worksheet. Okay, page number 27. You solve this worksheet, and then we will discuss these things in the live class, and obviously I will provide most of the answers but not all the answers. Okay, don't demand all the ready-made answers. This is not done. Okay, you need to do something on your own. There are some students who copy the answers from the study material, and they do not think whether it is wrong or whether it is correct. Human beings make mistakes, and after that they come, no miss, this has been provided, or I could not understand these, such things after the exam. Don't do that. You solve the exercise at first on your own with your own ideas, and then come and check my provided answers, the provided answers by me. Okay. Now the next thing that we are going to discuss, that is adjectives, degrees of comparison. Okay, sometimes what do? We make comparisons, or sometimes we don't make comparisons also. Like she is a tall girl, but she is taller than her sister, or she is tallest of all those sisters among the class. She is the first girl of this class. These things, It means we are, wait a second, just wait a second. Yeah, I was feeling too hot, that's why I just switched on the fan. Sorry for the interruption. Yeah, what was I saying? Degrees of comparison. Sometimes we do not compare anything, we just say simple things like she is a tall girl. Okay, but sometimes we say she is taller than her sister. I mean, we are comparing two things. Okay, we are comparing two things. Okay, excuse me for 1 second again. I need to bring the duster actually. No, I could not find it easily, so I just came back. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, she is taller than her sister. It means in this particular sentence, we are making a comparison between two persons. Between two persons we are making the comparison. But she is tallest among all her sisters. In this particular sentence, we are making a comparison but not between just two human beings. We are making a comparison, we are creating a comparison among more than two. Okay, among more than two. This is what matters. Okay, no comparison, comparison between two, and comparison between, not between, among more than two. Alright, it can be 3, it can be 3 crores. That doesn't matter, more than 2 matters. Okay, let's read. See again, the tall has been used in your book also. Ramesh is a tall boy. Atul is taller than Ramesh. Vijay is the tallest of the 3. So in the first sentence, Ramesh is a tall boy, there is no comparison, nothing. The term tall, the adjective, I think you have easily understood that which one is the adjective here, tall is the adjective here. So there is no comparison. Tall has been used in its own way, in its raw form. Okay. But in the second sentence, see, Atul is taller than Ramesh. Here tall has become taller because there is a comparison between two. And when we are comparing between two, we call it a comparative degree. When there is no comparison, this is actually a positive degree. The word taller is said to be in the comparative degree. When do we say it? When there is a comparison between two. Okay, two things or two persons. At that time we say that this is in comparative degree, and when there is a comparison among more than 2, as I said, it can be 3, it can be 300 crores. That doesn't matter. We call it to be in, the adjective is in superlative degree. Alright? Okay. Now the next one. We use the positive degree of an adjective when we do not make any comparison, as I just mentioned. Comparative degree of an adjective is used when we compare two persons or things, and superlative degree of adjective is used when we compare more than two persons or things. See again, this nice chart, this nice box has been made, has been provided, the easiest thing I guess. I just love these boxes. Okay. Obviously you read the whole thing. After that you just check your own ideas whether you have got the things correctly or not from this box. Okay, don't skip the description. Okay, never ever skip the description, and don't try to skip the thing and just easily jump to this particular box. You will not get anything. At first try to understand the whole thing and then match your ideas with this little portion. Okay. Now, formation of the comparative and superlative degrees. I think you already know it because we use it randomly, but we have not thought it in this way. Okay, like from tall we have made it taller and tallest. So after tall we are using er, we are adding er to the word tall when you are using it in comparative degree, and we are using est at the end of that particular adjective when we are using it in superlative degree. So in most of the cases it works in this way. In comparative degree we add er, and in superlative degree we add est. Okay, rich, richer, richest, smart, smarter, smartest. There are lots of examples provided in your book. Please go through them. Okay. Now next one, if the positive degree of adjective it ends in E, we add only R and ST because we do not need to add ER. E is already there, so we need to add R only, and in superlative degree not EST because E is already there again. So ST only. See, noble, nobler, noblest, wise, wiser, wisest. WISE, E is already there at the end. That's why WISER. We are adding R only to wise when we are making it comparative because E is already there. Okay, now the third one. If the positive degree ends in Y and the Y has a consonant immediately before it, the Y is changed into I before adding ER and EST. The same thing, almost same thing that we learned during learning the number of nouns. But if the Y has a vowel before it, it is not changed into I. Today I really could not find the duster, otherwise you know I like to write things on the board. It becomes easier for me also to teach. So sorry for that. No problem. We will discuss in the best way as we can. So easy, EASY. At the end we have Y and before Y we have the consonant S. And what was the rule? When we have consonant before Y, Y is changed before Y is changed into I before adding ER. So EASIER. But again there are some words where you can find vowels before the letter Y, like grey, GREY. E is a vowel obviously, so Y will not be changed into I, it will be Y only, GREYER. That's it. If the positive is positive means the positive degree of adjective, the raw word. Okay. If the positive degree is a word of one syllable and in second case ends in a single consonant and has one short vowel before it, the consonant is doubled before adding ER and EST. These three conditions should be maintained. Like it is the raw form, it is a one word syllable. I hope it is a word of one syllable. I hope you know syllable like boy. You cannot divide it into two syllables, boy, boy. But umbrella, umbrella, three syllables are there. I am talking about monosyllabic words where there is only one syllable. You cannot divide them into two or more than two syllables. More than one syllables will not be there. I am talking about such words, and those words must be monosyllabic and should be end in a single consonant, like hot. At the end there is T, and before that there is a vowel. At the end there is not double T or something like that. Double consonant is not there. Only a single consonant is there at the end. Before that there is a vowel. And has one short vowel before it. And in the particular word there should not be more than one vowel. You need to memorize these points. Okay, you need to memorize this point. What are the three conditions? First, the word must be monosyllabic. One single syllable should be there. The ending letter should be consonant, and before that there must not be any consonant. I mean just the previous letter of the last letter must not be any consonant. I mean single consonant must be there at the end. And in that particular word, in the middle of that word or in between the letters, there must be only one vowel. Not more than one vowel should be there in the letter. Okay, in the letter, not in the letter. In the whole word, there must be only one vowel. And if such criteria are maintained, what is the rule? The consonant is doubled before adding ER and EST. See, hot. HOT. I am writing here. Okay, try to see. I hope you can see this thing. Hot. What did I say? Monosyllabic. Hot. Can you divide it into more than one syllable? No. Hot, hot. At the end, there is a single consonant. Before it, there is another consonant. No. Before it, there is a vowel. So, single consonant is there at the end. And in the whole world, how many vowels are there? Only one vowel is there. So, the criteria have been mentioned. Now, what is the rule in these cases? We need to double the last consonant before adding ER in comparative degree and before adding EST in superlative degree. HOTTER, HOTTEST. This will be the thing when we are making it comparative and superlative. Now you go through this portion. If you face any problem, you do let me know. You must let me know and go through the examples obviously. Now there is the fifth rule. Many adjectives of 2 syllables and all adjectives of more than 2 syllables form their comparative by using more before the positive and their superlative by using most. Okay, beautiful. The big words, okay, more than 2 syllables, they do not become like beautifuler. Have you used something like that? No. More beautiful, most beautiful. So the term that we are going to invite in comparative degree, that is more, M-O-R-E, with big words, with polysyllabic words, and the term that we are going to invite in case of superlative degree, that is M-O-S-T, most. Okay. Some adjectives are compared irregularly. That is, they do not follow any of the rules given above. There are some students who do not follow any rule. These are those students. These are such examples. They do not follow any rule. They just change themselves. Like bad, worse, worst. The word worse, which we use in comparative degree, can you find any connection with the term bad? No, there is total change. Okay, such students are there, such examples are also there, always in every chapter. And those are really, really important. More important than the other examples. Okay? Important, so everything is important. But these are more important than the other examples. Okay? Comparatively. They do not follow any of the rules given above. So we try to remember their comparative and superlative forms. You know, in such cases, what happens actually, because I am quite mature now, I have been using such examples a lot, okay, since my childhood. So now I do not need to memorize the same things. If I face a new word, obviously I need to, because I do not know everything, right? No one knows everything. But the thing is that the fact is that we generally memorize them by practicing and practicing. You memorize these examples at first. Okay, and other examples you will easily memorize when you will use them now and then. Okay, but at first you need to memorize this list. Okay. Now solve this. Okay, solve this portion. I will mention which things you need to solve. Actually, solve everything. You are going to get a huge time. So solve everything and then check the answers. Alright. Now page number 31, there are some exercises that I am not going to provide the ready-made answers. The whole page number 31. I will discuss a few things from each exercise, from exercise 2, from exercise 3. I will discuss 2 or 3 questions from each exercise, because these are really, really for oral practice, and for this thing you need to attend the live class. Okay. Now page number 32. We should be careful not to use double comparatives or superlative. Yes, this is very important. Okay, this is really important. We cannot say she is more smarter than me. She is more smarter than me. More is used in comparative degree with polysyllabic words generally, with big words, and smarter is in comparative degree, ER at the end. So more smarter doesn't make any sense. No, totally wrong sentence. She is smarter than me. That is good. because smart is a monosyllabic word, so you can use er at the end and it is comparative. It is in its comparative degree. No need to use more before it. Double negative, in the same way we cannot use double superlative. She is the most smartest boy among all the students. No, she is the smartest of all the students. That's it. Alright. Now much, many. We use much with quantity, many with number. This thing we all know. Or we can say that we use much with uncountables and many with countables. I have already discussed it in the adjective chapter. Much generally describes the uncountable noun, means much is an adjective of quantity, whereas many is an adjective of number. An adjective of number, obviously it describes the countable nouns. Okay. Little, a little, few, a few, and I am going to add something, the little and the few. Okay, you read it from your book, but I am describing it in my own way. Little, when we say, I am describing it with example. I have little money. Okay, it means I have almost no money. Okay, little means almost nothing. I have a little money. A little means more than enough. I mean enough to, I have a little money means enough. Okay, enough. I think it has been mentioned. Little, almost, no help. I got little help means I got no help. I had a little help from you means enough. The help that you provided, that was enough to give me some benefit. Okay, that was enough. I had the little help from you which saved me. The little help that you provided saved me. The little means, that has not been mentioned in your book. The little means the particular portion that was needed. I have spent the few money that I had. Means whatever money I had with me, I have spent. The little, the few, it means the whole portion that I had or that was there. Okay, I hope you understood. And the few also works in this way. Few means almost nothing, a few means enough, and the few means the whole amount. Okay, whatever you are describing the noun, the whole amount of that noun. Okay, understood? And the next one is elder, older, eldest, oldest. This thing is really important. I was going through this portion and this was helpful for me. I didn't memorize this particular portion from my childhood, you know, it helped me a lot. See, we use elder and eldest only with persons. We do not use these words with animals or things. Besides, these words are used with members of the same family, elder and eldest. We use these words for the members of the same family and only for human beings, not for animals and things. Only for human beings of the same family. My elder brother is a doctor. I can use the term elder when I am talking about my sibling. Her eldest sister has got married. We are talking about her family and human beings, obviously. So these criteria should be there if we are going to use elder or eldest. If we are going to use than in a sentence, we use older and not elder. Whenever we use than, see the previous sentences, my elder brother is a doctor. No than. But John is elder than his sister. No. Even if we are talking about the same family, no. Because you are using than in the sentence, you have to use older, not elder. This thing you please memorize. Okay, don't get confused. Older and oldest can be used with persons as well as things. This is the oldest house in our street. So we are talking about house in the second sentence, which is not a human being, obviously. So we cannot use elder, eldest, because elder and eldest are used only in case of human beings, but older and oldest we can use in all the cases. Both both in cases of human beings and in cases of things. Okay, see, human beings have been also described, like Ritesh is the oldest boy in our class. House, non-human things, Ritesh, human things. You can use older, oldest in both animal cases, human cases, or things cases. Okay, so these were the things that you need to memorize. This portion you need to memorize properly. Okay, lots of things are there in page number 33. Now solve the exercise. Another thing that I am going to discuss very briefly, as I was checking your half yearly copies. See, we had multiple classes, live classes, video classes, where we were discussing. We had discussion about the format of friendly letter writing. I told you to strictly follow the format provided by me. I have provided it several times. Several times I have provided it, but even after that, in that particular portion, in the format, I really found that you have not maintained those things. But it's not that the topic was not discussed. We had several discussions. The format had been provided several times. So many times. I don't even remember how many times I provided that. But you did not study that properly. And in this upcoming examination, I have provided letter writing, but this time we are going to learn only the format of formal letter writing. I have attached the format. There is nothing to explain, but I would like to say what is the difference between friendly letter writing and formal letter writing. Friendly letter writing, we write these things to our relatives, to our close and near ones. There is nothing formal. Okay, we write these things to family members, friends, these kind of people with whom we can share our feelings and all those things, our incidents. But formal letter writing is something that is official. I mean, we write that to the principal. There we cannot write whatever we want. We need to be very much formal in our approach. Okay, just remember this thing and concentrate in the format, the punctuation, the in how many sentences. And another thing, here we need to mention the receiver's address. That was not there in the friendly letter writing. Okay, so there are quite a few differences in this particular letter writing. You just go through the format. You not go through, you just memorize the format. Format must be memorized strictly. You cannot add any full stop even. Even a full stop cannot be added. Things must be in proper order. The thing that I have provided, you just memorize that and concentrate only in the format. Don't think about anything else. Just learn the format. Okay? So we are going to meet in the next live class. Watch the whole video, go through the chapters, and most important thing, after going through the chapter, after watching the video, solve the worksheets. And obviously the Google form, submit that positively. I am tired of saying this. Submit the Google form positively. Okay? Take care. Bye bye.